the nighttime show, live from Genghis Cohen in Hollywood, California. Today, our guest, John Venzon, ace from the editor of Lego Batman movie, the Lego Ninjago movie, Storks, and of course, one of our favorite movies of all time, South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut. Here, as with us always, our head writer and producer, Matt Walker, the skinniest bastard. He looks like a Q-tip on fire. And of course, there's me, the host of the nighttime show, sexy as always, wearing my shorts that may or may not have a stain on them, Stephen Glickman! Woo! Woo! Hey, how are you, John?
I'm doing well, and I'm here to confirm there are stains, but in totally appropriate places.
Yeah, no, it's like a stain. Like I'm pre-stained. They're pre-stained.
It's probably from your dog.
They were stained.
I don't think it's stained by you.
No, they were pre-stained when I bought them. That's the new fashion trend.
It's true. You just head up Melrose, like the place is lousy with pre-stained clothing stores.
Oh God, they've got everything these
Everywhere.
days. It used to be rips, now it's stains. John, what? I haven't seen you. I think since the wrap of Storks.
Storks, yes. That was, believe it or not, that was a year ago, a whole year ago.
Actually, that's not true. I saw you last week when I rewatched Storks, and you appear in the movie. Did you know this, Matt? John appears in the movie. He is fully animated. He shows up. There's a scene where a package is being delivered to the Storks island.
That's
basically.
right. That's right.
And he put himself into the movie.
Oh yeah.
And he's like the mailman delivering the package to the
editor's
Pelican.
privilege. You make sure that doesn't get cut.
Oh no, I'll tell you. There's a great story about this.
Please.
Basically, our co-head of story, Matt Flynn, is a good friend of mine, and so I love ruffling his hair, his boyish hair, giant, luscious head of hair that you want to take a nap in.
Just like Stephen Glickman.
Yes. On his chin. It's like you want to base camp there.
Yes.
But Matt evidently doesn't like it when I treat him like my little brother. So what he did as a goof is he drew me doing this goofy walk in the storyboards. And I went, ha, 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 ha. It's so funny. But every time we would show it, we would run the scene, everyone would laugh at me, and Matt had his revenge. And I thought, okay, that's fine. I'll bear this. But then what happened was Doug Sweetland, one of our two fabulous directors on Storks, thought, how hilarious would it be if we completely CG modeled him, which they did, and it ended up in the movie. And
oh my God,
it gets even better. So what happens is you would think, well, if I'm going to be a CG character, they're going to do motion capture. They're going to see me, see my essence, do the walk so people see it and go, that's clearly John Venzon. No.
Right.
No, what they did is they called up Matt and they were like, you drew him doing this weird little walk. Is that how he walks? And Matt is, of course, I'm sure, thinking, yeah, he walks weird like that. So when you watch the movie, you'll see me. I have my hand kind of cocked out and I'm like this, doing this little walk.
Is it like from Monty Python's Ministry of Silly Walks?
Silly walks. I think I think that I would be like the B list, like the Python guys would look at me walking and go, you know what? Let's put that in the maybe pile.
Okay.
That is amazing. I love that.
So,
that's so great.
Let's jump way back to the beginning because I'm curious about this because you've been editing in a long time and now you've done a lot of animation lately, but you started off doing live action stuff.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. That's right.
So how did you get started in the world of editing? Did you go to college to study editing or what happened?
Yeah. Actually, I went to the University of Colorado at Boulder back in the late 80s, I guess, if I'm trying to remember.
Back when Avids were like a machine.
Yeah, well, actually, back before Avids, I actually learned how to edit on film back in the olden days with splicers. And I have scars on my hands from using razor blades to chop lines of cocaine. Film, Mom, if you're listening, your baby doesn't do coke anymore. So the deal is that when I was there, I had the good luck of knowing that I wanted to be an editor from the beginning. So what happened was I would just volunteer to edit all of my friends' films, and they all wanted to be directors, and they were only too happy to do that. And so a good buddy of mine, we would hang out, and he was gonna. I always knew he was going to be a director, and so once I came out to Los Angeles and I got started on my big break in Hollywood. I managed to weasel my way onto Natural Born Killers as an assistant editor.
So cool.
Yeah.
Which launched me into this this great trajectory. And
how did you make that happen?
Oh God! Well, here's the thing. If you, and this is a great tip for Hollywood, if you are ever in a situation where someone says, "Hey, do you know this?" Fill in the blank. For me, it was this arcane digital editing system. Do you know this? You always say yes.
Yeah.
And then you quickly run and find a book or a website and you read it as fast as you can. Basically, what happened was I got a call Thursday.
Because the techniques are the same regardless of the software you're using. It's like with even just using a computer, like doing art on a computer, it's like you could do the same thing in Microsoft Paint as you can do in Photoshop if you just really know what you're doing and work hard enough. Like, what you're trying to accomplish is the same regardless of the tool you use.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so what happened was I got offered this gig, and it turned out to be Natural Born Killers. And so I said, okay, well, great, I'll talk to you next week. And they said, oh, no. It was Thursday night at 8 o'clock. They said, we need you on a plane to Gallup, New Mexico tomorrow morning. To which I said,
just late night cram session.
Merker.
Merker.
So, like literally, as I'm flying to Gallup, New Mexico, I'm reading the manual for the editing machine on the plane and just praying to God that.
So, did you have like a reel you'd put together of the stuff you did in college and showed it to him?
No,
or
see,
that's
that's a good thing about editing. You can start out as an assistant editor, which is mostly filing and basically supporting the editor. And even though I had done editing, I knew that when I moved to LA, I needed to start over again because. He was like, I'm an editor. I edited this low-budget lesbian horror film.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
That we don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one in Hollywood cares what you did in film school.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lay down the truth. But
yeah.
The thing is that I got in. I met a bunch of great people. It turned out to be an amazing experience. It was like boot camp. And then because of that, it just led to another film. I ended up working on Little Giants and then the movie Twister for Michael Kahn.
And weren't you on Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, I did. I helped out on Pulp Fiction when I was working on Natural Born Killers. They needed some help getting the room set up, and so I went and hung out and helped them for a week. I got to load dailies for the scene with Julia Sweeney and the... the wolf. Yeah,
at the end with the cars.
That's right.
Yeah, so
that's gotta be really neat though to be able to see. All the different versions of those performances.
Yeah.
Now, would they? I mean, I guess like a scripty then gives you kind of a list of like the best, like some of the best takes. Or do they tell you exactly which take to use, or do they tell you like here's some options of takes?
I think it depends on the director. I think a director. Most directors typically want to see the editor's first pass to kind of see what they do. But when they're on the set, they'll tell the script supervisor, hey, I like the first half of take 1. Glickman was a genius, takes 9 through 12. So anything from there, it's just the way it is,
Right.
But you have a certain amount of latitude. And
you do realize you don't have to kiss his ass. It's fine.
Well, see, he said I would get a bottle of booze at the end of this thing.
Yeah,
regardless.
It's very
it's regardless.
Yeah. Oh, really?
You can say awful things about me. It's totally fine.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, okay, here's the deal. I haven't had cinnamon schnapps in a while, and I know Glickman loves it, so I assume that's cinnamon schnapps.
Well, what we're talking about right now is Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey, which is the greatest drink in history, and we have a bottle of it for you, my dear friend John.
Oh my God,
thank you again so much.
There you go.
For coming to do this.
It's amazing stuff.
Oh, this is excellent. This looks great. I will drink this. I will share it with my friends. I will. It looks lovely.
I was at the county fair.
So well afterwards.
I was at the county fair this weekend, and they actually have a Fireball infused giant donut with bananas and some kind of syrup on it.
Oh yeah, I had that for breakfast.
Amazing.
This morning. Oh my God.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
Can't get enough Fireball. It's everywhere.
That's what those stains are.
That's where we go. That it all comes back.
It all circles
there
around.
We go.
I'm sorry. I'll wrap up my my incredibly long story. So basically, I was on the track to do live action editing, and so I assisted after Twister. I then got to work for David Fincher. Jim Haygood, his editor, hired me as assistant. I did The Game, Fight Club, and Panic Room.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Were you around David Fincher?
Oh,
did you meet him and stuff?
Yeah, oh God, I spent 3-4 years of my life working for David Fincher. It was the best. It was like film school every day because the crazy thing about Fincher is that he knows everything about your job as well as you do. In fact, this is a total geeky editor story, but I have to tell it.
Please.
So this was back in the film days whenever you do a dissolve or a title, you have to write up a count which you give to the optical house to recreate it from the negative. And so Fincher came in and said, hey, tell them not to use this particular film printing stock, right? And he said, use this particular stock. And I went, okay, David Fincher tells you to do something. You're like, he probably knows. So I write it down, and we got a call back. Alex Olivares, the other assistant, and I got a call back from the lab, and they were like, give us an effing break. You're calling out the film printing stock. We know what we're doing. Who is your director? And we said, it's David Fincher. And he went, okay, we're going to use that stock. Because they had worked with them on Seven, and they were like, that dude knows what he's doing.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll tell you, every single day I worked for him was amazing. I learned so much.
What's he like to spend time with? I mean, do you guys would you guys just hang out?
Yeah. In fact, we edited The Game and the first half of Fight Club in the guest house behind his house.
Whoa!
And he's really gracious.
So he's very involved in the editing process.
He is very involved. Yeah. In fact, he. I'll tell you, I never got a chance to meet or work with Kubrick, but I imagine he's like an even more put together and intense version of Stanley Kubrick.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't say enough good stuff.
I remember,
about
I think
him.
it was in Sidney Lumet's book where he wrote about how when making a movie, the story gets told 3 times. First by the writer, second by the director, thirdly by the editor, and we see the version the editor gives us. That's what we get.
Yeah.
So it's like a really pivotal role in making a film that often gets overlooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice of you to say. Yeah, I think so too. And I think that as an editor, the most important job we have is to be the first audience for the film, because we're the people that see it for really put together for the first time. And so as we go through and we sit in a room with our director for literally days, months, and sometimes years, reworking things, it's really up to us as the editors to remember the first touch, the first instinct, the joke that was funny that, on 50th viewing, everyone starts doubting and like, oh, I don't know, was that as funny, or are we losing something? So you really have to, you do your director a disservice to back off and just be completely accommodating, because, I think your director, you hope you have the kind of relationship that you have give and take. And
yeah. Absolutely.
That's usually, and it was amazing to watch Jim Haygood and Fincher work together on that particular set of films. And Angus Wall too, who was one of the editors as well. And man, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Wow.
And the good news is that how sometimes when you're in your life you're having an experience and you're like, I'm tired, I don't want to drive. You don't realize that maybe this might be the greatest experience of your life.
Yeah.
Every single day I worked for Fincher, I knew this is it, man. These are the days. It's not that high school bullshit. It's completely working here. So
Now, how long does a process like that take? Like, let's say you worked on, you said Fight Club, right? So Fight Club, they might shoot the movie for 2 months?
Yeah, 2 to 4 months.
2 to 4 months. How long does editing that footage take from that point? Like because they've already done all their shoots by the time you see the footage at that point. Is that right?
Well, actually, you as an editor on live action shows, you start about a week before shooting starts. So you start getting footage the second day of shooting.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But the thing is that in terms of the duration of the time, it depends on the release schedule. If a director has a certain amount of clout, they might get, like a year's time, a year and a half. Fight Club was, I want to say, and by the way, I might be totally wrong about this. I remember it being about a year and 4 months, a year and a half, which is a long time.
That's
for
a long
live
time
action.
for editing. Wow.
But Fincher uses whatever amount of time he has, he uses it really well.
Wow.
And
were you? How many editors were there on that?
On Fight Club, it was Jim Haygood who was the main editor. It was myself and Alex Olivares and Michelle Mendenhall and 2 or 3, Mike Matsdorf, a couple of other assistants. And then kind of on the back half to finish up, Angus Wall came. Angus, by the way, cut the title sequence for Seven and won 2 Academy Awards as for Fincher on Social Network and Benjamin Button.
Oh my God! Wow. Now, have there been moments in those films, or I mean, there's stuff gets cut all the time. That has there been things that you've watched get cut that you're like, ooh, that could have been so cool, or people would have loved that?
Yeah, it wasn't the case on Fight Club, but on most movies you work on, the version right before the final version is usually the correct version of the movie because you have a certain number of people that come in. I won't say names. They usually rhyme with udio, executives. No, I'm being a dick. Those guys hire me. I love them. They make great choices.
Yes, no, of course. Yeah.
Typically what ends up happening is you work, and then you get the version, which is probably the right version. And then what happens is either you start second guessing it or people get bored or the realities are you can't do a 7-minute vibrator joke, whatever the thing is.
Sure, of course.
Unless it's not another teen movie where I think they did a 7-minute vibrator joke in that movie.
I think you may be right.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is you end up changing it.
You know what's super weird, by the way? A little off subject, but I am currently working on a show that is on Disney Channel. And one of the actresses on the show was in the movie, not another teen movie, and she was completely naked in those movies. She's like the whole way through the movie. She plays the Shannon Elizabeth
she plays
part.
the foreign exchange student. Okay, I remember her.
She's now playing like a series. She's now a series regular on a Disney Channel show, and they just overlooked it. They were like pretended it did not exist. But it was like something that people were like. They were worried. They're like in their fourth season. Like she has no, she's going to be there for a while. But it was amazing. Like I was like, wow, oh my God, like those leaps. That's a leap. Yeah. To go from that to like being in kid friendly stuff is very tricky. I don't know if that happens all the time. But
no, I can imagine. Usually it's the reverse. But
yeah,
she played a foreign exchange student, so therefore maybe you could argue it's an art film because she's foreign.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, so
there we go. That makes sense.
Very different over there.
Absolutely,
yeah. It's totally normal.
I actually loved that movie. Not another teen movie.
I saw it in the theater.
Oh, me too.
I made bad choices.
Hey, I've made you make bad choices.
Oh yes,
I made you see Jack
movies.
and Jill in the movie theater. I made you see Bucky Larson, Nick Swartzen's movie in the movie theater.
What was that one we saw?
I made you see Mother's Day in the movie theater. I've made you see.
What was the one with the slap chop dude?
Oh, that one.
That was bad. I think there were 12 people that saw it in America. We were 2 of them.
John, I have like a really deep-seated problem where like
he loves bad movies.
I love bad movies.
And he makes me go watch them.
But only bad movies that cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And they can't be action movies. They have to be like relationship-y type movies that are like massive
Valentine's
failures.
Day. Yeah.
Like, oh God, I love those.
So I would assume like your classic movie would be Ishtar. Like that's right in your wheelhouse.
Like that's in my
Dune.
wheelhouse. Yeah. I mean, I'm one of my favorite. If I had to like pick my favorite bad movies, it would be like Valentine's Day or New Year's Eve. Like those movies where they jammed.
Where they spent $100 million on the cast and $100 on the script,
and they filled everybody in as possible they could do. And there was a movie. Sorry, I know we're jumping way off subject. There was a movie with Halle Berry and Hugh Jackman that we went to go see. Oh shit, what was it called? You remember it was Halle Berry and Hugh Jackman had testicles
sketch one. Yeah,
hanging from his neck.
The one that was
right.
like they blackmailed people into being in the movie.
They blackmailed everybody into being in the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
What they had done is they had shot a sketch. I'm forgetting. We got to find the name of the movie.
I'll look it up.
You look it up. Yeah. These guys, John. I don't know if you know this story.
Oh, I do know the story. In fact, I watched them edit that specific skit with the testicles.
Oh,
shut up! Are you serious?
I'm not kidding. They were cutting that over at Real Effects in Santa Monica, and I would poke my head in, and it was like it was the guys that did Something About Mary, wasn't it?
Yeah, they
movie
were part
43.
of
Movie 43.
Yeah, where literally they went to every cast member and said, "Hey, Halle Berry and Hugh Jackman are in a movie. Do you want to be in it? It's a comedy." And they would say, "Yeah, sure. Can we watch their stuff?" And they go, "No, you can't watch anything.
Good call.
You can't. And then they would just sign their rights away. They would go and make the movie, and they did it to everybody, including Emma Stone.
Yeah.
That cast was huge. I mean, it was crazy huge. Chris Pratt's in it. Anna Faris is in it. All these these amazing people, and then
that's why they got divorced. They
Probably.
watched that movie and they were like, "Guess it's not gonna work."
At some point, I
Gotta
guess
pay attention to what
during
you
it,
sign.
Gene, one of the big guys that was in the movie, like found out he like saw an early cut. And he was like, "Oh my God, what have I done?" And tried to jump ship. Richard Gere tried to jump ship from being in the movie, and they were like, "No, we're holding you to your contract." And so they had to fly out to him in another country to go and shoot him, so that or he would get sued, basically. And then they put it out. I mean, it's fabulous.
Yeah, the other one I was thinking of was Inappropriate movie. That was the one with the guy from the Slap Chop guy.
Oh, that was a real bad movie.
Yeah, the one that Dante's in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's the worst. Oh, well, monster trucks.
Oh, Monster Trucks, which, by the way, I worked on for a hot minute.
No,
Really?
you did not.
I did.
What?
Yeah,
What?
My buddy Matt Flynn and I, at the very early stages, took a couple of sequences and put together. I don't think our stuff ended up anywhere near the movie, but it was. It was interesting times at Paramount.
Do you know the story about how that movie got made? You know that story, right?
I do, but I want to hear you say it because then that way I'll have plausible deniability.
No, it's fine. And so the president of the studio at that time, he greenlit the film, and then he quit pretty soon after, and then. Was
he institutionalized for greenlighting the film?
No, he quit, and then the studio started trying to track down. After they watched a cut of it, they were like, "What the fuck is this?" And so they tried to track down to figure out who had pitched him the movie, and they went to Bob Bacon. Everyone who knew that it was of how it went down got fired or was asked to quit, basically. So Bob Bacon left, who was the head of animation there, as well as most of that team, that animation team, all left, and then because it was live action and animation.
Agreed.
And then in the end, they found out that the person he had bought the rights for that movie from was and the story from the movie, he had bought that story from his 5-year-old son.
Who then they forced to retire / quit.
Yes.
Yes.
5-year-old.
Yeah,
You're out of the business.
Yeah, they kicked the 5-year-old out of the business. But I love that story. That is my favorite Hollywood story from the last 10 years, easily. It's easily the last 10, 20 years. Favorite thing that could have happened in Hollywood. I love it.
The worst part is when I heard it pitched, I went, doesn't Paramount make a movie about trucks that turn into other things?
Yeah.
Called
Transformers?
That's what it is. Transmorgafires?
Yeah. Transmorphers?
It was like, but it's like Transformers for kids. Isn't Transformers for
right.
kids?
Right. I love that kind of stuff.
Normally,
man.
I would think,
I love
okay,
this
Transformers
business.
without Michael Bay, I'm kind of more interested, but apparently not.
I don't know, man. I got to give Michael Bay a lot of credit, though, because
nobody makes more money with bad movies than Michael Bay.
I mean, those movies have made so much money. Those Transformer movies have gone on, and it could have just been 1 or 2 movies. But what are we on, 6 now? 5, 6?
The highest grossing film from 2 years ago was the one with the dinosaurs in it.
That's a lot, dude.
And by the way, it's the highest grossing dinosaur movie that doesn't have the words Jurassic or Park in the title.
Yeah, it's insane.
I've argued with people about that before because they're like, "Oh, Michael Bay," bleh. And I'm like, "Dude, Michael,
well,
look at the amount of movies that he's made.
Cranks out movies,
made
makes
a lot of money
fortune.
from.
I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah,
but Transformers 3. Or was it 4? 3.
I don't know. One of them had elderly Transformers in it with beards, and that's where I was out. I was out when it was like, I am the oldest of the bearded Transformers.
I think it was only the second movie I ever walked out on in my entire life.
Damn.
Was that when I was like, I can't watch this. He took Dr. Ken Jeong, one of the funniest human beings on planet Earth, and made him not funny. In the movie. I don't know how he did it.
That's the movie.
That's amazing.
I was there with you.
And I was like, I'm not sitting here watching this. I can't watch this anymore. And I got up and left.
Dare, done on a dare? Yeah, I bet you I can get Americans to cheer for Nazis.
Yep.
And make him not funny.
I felt the same way about that when Adam Sandler got Al Pacino for Jack and Jill to do the Dunkachino stuff. I felt like it was him personally being like I own this town. Like that. Somehow in his brain he was like, I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna do this to Al Pacino. And then he did it, and I was like,
So dirty.
So dirty. It made me
you know
feel
what's
so
happened since
dirty.
You know what's happened since then? Now
What?
you see Al Pacino walking around in the streets wearing a dress, looking like a homeless person.
Oh, I don't know.
It's like he can't
I
live
saw
with the
Al
shame.
Pacino in I know that we're jumping way
No,
out.
no.
But I'm
going to pull us back right after this
please.
story.
I saw
Hoo-yah.
I saw Al Pacino. That's the worst.
I can't do a
What's
hoo-yah.
the matter with you,
I
Matt?
can't do voices. You know I don't do voices.
I saw
That's why
I
you do
saw Al
voiceover
Pacino.
work and I don't.
I know. I saw Al Pacino across from old NBC studios in Burbank at some commissary coffee shop. I was sitting there with a buddy from IGN. We were having lunch, and literally Pacino walked into the cafe like he's not Al Pacino and sat down at the table next to us. And he turned, and his buddy goes, "Hey Al, what do you want to drink inside? I'll go get you something to drink." And he goes, "Oh God, I don't know. Maybe like cappuccino, something like that." Who knows? and I go, I can't have this meeting anymore. Like if he's sitting there doing this, and then they brought him out, and they go, all we had was cafe au lait, cafe
latte.
Cafe latte. All they had was a cafe latte, and he goes, cafe latte. Who do you think I am? And I was like, I can't be here anymore. Like, it was so great.
That's
it was like
awesome.
having a new Al Pacino movie played next to your face. It was so weird. Anyways.
These method guys, man, they can't order a cappuccino any other way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hey, man, this is such a fun podcast. You know who I'm missing, though? I miss Mike Glazer. I wish Mike Glazer was around.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Look at that. There he is. He's coming in the door right now. Mike Glazer.
Hey. Can I come up? Hey, holy cow.
Whoa, Mike, what's been going on? How you doing?
I was in the desert and I saw an oasis or something. There was a huge bottle of Fireball, and so I just dragged it back here.
Whoa, look how big that
That's
bottle
enormous.
of Fireball is.
Yeah, I feel like you could swim in it if you don't want to drink it.
Yeah, it's absolutely enormous, man. I mean, I can't believe that you found that out in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let's all have some of that Fireball whiskey.
Thank goodness.
Man, Fireball whiskey, it makes everything better. Even
almost dying in the desert.
almost dying.
Yeah, but it was worth it. I mean, this is going to taste great.
Yeah.
Yeah, cinnamon whiskey, it makes you feel good even when you're almost about to die in the desert.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the show. All right, so no, please, let's go back. Let's go back. I'm sorry.
Basically, here's what happens. I'm live action working for David Fincher, living the good life. And my friend from film school, my director friend from film school, calls me up and says, "Hey, do you want to work on this little low budget animated feature?" And I said, "Well, I've never edited animation before." And he said, "Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out." And so I said yes. And it turned out to be the South Park movie. South Park, bigger, longer.
Get
and
out of
Uncut.
here.
So, yeah, I went to film school with Trey and Matt.
No,
okay.
you did not.
University of
amazing.
Colorado at Boulder, yeah.
Oh my
And you didn't work on
God.
basketball?
I did not, because what was happening is while they were doing Packer, I guess Cannibal the Musical, which were originally called Packer.
Oh, yeah.
Let's build a
and-
snowman?
and-
Build
yeah,
it up so
exactly.
tall. Let's build a
Most of my
snowman.
film school friends are in the movie, including my film professor, Stan Brakhage, the great avant-garde filmmaker Stan Brakhage. So while they were doing that, I was doing the my kind of live action assisting. And so I just really quickly want to say something about Trey Parker. When I was in film school with Trey and Matt, they were already comic geniuses. It was crazy because when we were in film school, comically speaking, we were getting our learner permits. Meanwhile, Trey was fucking parallel parking the space shuttle in film school, comically speaking.
Jeez.
And so so when we got out here and we started working on the South Park movie, it was one of the most amazing experiences because Trey and Matt at that point, I think everyone was telling them, South Park TV show, you have probably another 2 years on this thing. It's like a fucking piece of commodity. Who gives a shit? Take the money and run. You probably won't even be running the show after season 3 or 4. So I think that Trey and Matt at that point were like, well, fuck, we're just going to go for broke.
With that movie, I thought it was going to end the show because I was like, how can they keep going? They've done this movie, which is above and beyond anything they'd ever done on the show at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there's nowhere to go but down from here. Like, how does it keep going? And then it's 15 years later, they're still making the show, and it's still great.
Oh, yeah, and that movie was.
I
feel
watched
like
it
was
5 times in the theater.
No doubt.
It was. I had the soundtrack. I memorized every song. Like it was. The 3 movies I've laughed the hardest at in my entire life are Blazing Saddles, Bruno, and South Park: Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
Wow.
Like that movie was a perfect comedy.
Oh.
It's like the funniest thing to me. Like to this day, I can still remember like where I was the first time I saw it. I almost fell out of my chair laughing so hard. People looked at me like I was De Niro in Cape Fear because I was like laughing like a maniac like that at that movie.
Oh yeah.
I saw it at my neighborhood movie theater when I was. What year is that?
That came out in 99.
99? Yeah, all right. So I saw it. I was home visiting family, and we went and watched it at the Wiegand Plaza AMC Theater, which is where I saw Back to the Future and all that stuff growing up.
Yeah.
And I remember my brain couldn't handle how much I was laughing during the movie, because by the end of the movie, you're like, did you're trying to remember every single thing that you've seen and moments that we had never seen anything like that before. Yeah. Like I almost feel like that movie, as far as dirty adult cartoons, is this. It must feel like the same as, in some ways, what it was like for people to watch Star Wars that had never seen Star Wars before. Damn. Where they watch Star Wars and their minds are blown out of their asses because they're like, I didn't know that I could see something like this. And then we had never seen a cartoon like that. Like, with the language and with the music and the singing and the devil and oh my God, like it was so much has been taken from that. Like so many have tried to copy it and do things like it, but have not.
I have a lot of questions about
close.
this though. So you switched to animation at that point.
Yeah.
Okay, you think of a live action film, they do 10 takes, whatever. They're like, use take 2 and take 5 or whatever. When you're making something that's animated, isn't it a lot more like they've sort of recorded the voices? They're like, okay, we know what we want, and don't they just animate what they want? Like, how much editing has to go on in that kind of thing?
Yeah, see, that's
it's a misconception I have, I'm sure.
Oh, no, totally. And in fact, by the way, you are not the only person that's asked me this. I've talked to editors that, have edited hundreds of movies, and they've been like, how does that work? The biggest secret, which I'm now totally blowing, is that being an animation editor is more like being a co-writer than it is being an editor. Because when you work on an animated movie, I'm on it for anywhere from 3 to 5 years, and we don't start animating it until almost the very last year, a little less than the last year, because we're revising. And this segues quite nicely to bringing up my personal favorite animated movie, Storks.
Well, here's the thing about Storks. From day one, which I was on that movie for 3 years, from day one, John was in the room.
Okay, so you're there while they're recording
the voice. He was there every single time I was in the room.
Yeah, because Nick Stoller, our fabulous director, one of our 2 fabulous directors, Doug Sweetland, and Nick Stoller. Nick is an improv guy, and obviously has done a lot of great live-action improv films.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Get Into the Greek.
That's right.
Neighbors. Amazing stuff.
And so for him, he wanted to bring the improv sensibility in the room, because typically, and I'm sure Mr. Glickman will back me up on this, a lot of times we just record actors one at a time. You guys kind of do your thing in isolation.
Yeah.
Nick said, no. I want to get everyone in the room together, or as many people in the room together as possible, so you can play off.
So you can get the timing right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, he had Andy Samberg and Katie Crown together in that room for most of their sessions. It was the 2 of them messing around.
I think there was only one session where the 2 of them weren't together.
Yeah. And Key and Peele recorded together every time.
Always together, which was amazing.
Yeah. The weird part is that
we're thinking about that. They're actually Siamese twins. Did you know that?
What?
You know what?
Can't separate them.
Not a lot of people know that. In fact, if you look at the promos for Get Out, you'll see Keegan Peele on the side.
They kept my character separate from everybody.
Yes,
almost
and there's a reason for that.
Because you don't fit in the booth with anyone else?
Oh, you know what, Matt? You know what?
Matt,
this is some...
Matt, words hurt like stone.
Oh, good. That's the intent.
So I'm gonna tell you, I brought some goodies. I brought some Storks goodies.
Okay,
get out of here.
Oh yeah. First of all,
is it the long lost Storks merchandise that
it is actually?
Oh wow!
Storks
Champagne
flutes.
What?
And
oh my God! Get
because
out of here!
what is a champagne flute without a bottle of very
Storks
expensive
champagne.
Champagne.
Oh my
So
God.
I'm going to open this up. We're going to have a little
Please.
champagne.
We will.
Champagne.
Oh wait, hang on.
Oh, wait, hold on. We're gonna
yeah.
we're gonna get some video.
I'm
of
gonna
this.
get some video of this.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
too
yeah.
good. It's too good.
Yeah.
All right, hang on. All right. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hang on. For the 1-year anniversary of the movie Storks, we have the editor, John Venzon, here. He has brought us champagne to have.
It's a really nice rosé champagne, which is very classy because we are classy gentlemen.
We are very classy gentlemen.
3 classy gentlemen sitting here in our shorts
Absolutely.
and t-shirts.
Gentlemen,
Whoa!
champagne.
Champagne!
Please, to
Look
pass
at
your
that.
glass. Matt, I'm so sorry. I only had 2 glasses
It's
to bring
quite
Mr.
all right.
Glickman, but here is this. If you just hand me your, there you go. If you just hand me your big gulp, I'll go ahead and pour you some
I'll take some champagne on ice.
lovely rosé
A
champagne.
little bit.
Champagne!
Not much for me. I'm driving.
Harbra champagne!
Perfect.
There you go.
Thank you.
So I would like to toast the great animated movie Storks.
To Storks.
The Storks.
Hey, wait. We have to cheers. We have to
Yeah,
cheers.
go
Oh,
cheers
yeah.
over there.
All right, hang on.
Don't trip.
Cheers! Cheers!
Yay. To Storks. Here, we're all going to drink now.
Wonderful.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Oh, yes.
It's amazing. Thank you so much.
you are very welcome. And let me just tell you something a little bit about not many people have rosé champagne.
No.
I picked it because I think it's a little nice afternoon class.
Oh,
It's called Class, listeners. Look it up.
Look it up, listeners.
Okay.
It's called being classy.
I have some more questions about the editing
yes.
process. And
Wait. He's got more stuff.
Okay, you got
So
more stuff. All right.
this is-
Show some more
this
stuff, and
is-
then I'll get back to
and
that question.
I promise we'll
Yeah.
get to this. So this.
John Venzon, my dear friend, and Matt Walker. We are here celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the film Storks.
Storks!
Yes.
It's wonderful.
We apologize to listeners for that dead air you heard. momentarily.
John, you're incredible. You were the editor of the film, and you brought
Yes.
some surprises. You have.
I did.
Yes.
So the first of all, it's custom champagne flutes with the Storks logo on it because we didn't make toys for kids, but we made glasses for adults.
This is to help you make the baby
That is
gets delivered by the store.
That is correct. And we have this and a very white CD.
Oh,
Nice,
awesome.
bro. You got make some babies. Babies.
It's Pigeon Toady in the flesh.
It is Pigeon Toady. So here's the thing. I brought another. You get 3 presents. This
Okay.
is present number 1.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Here is present number 2, which is going to segue into our conversation about the editing process. This, for Mr. Glickman, is an original crew hat
Oh yeah, that's
that
cool.
we
That's
gave out to.
What?
Andy Samberg
We
here,
only
right there.
you had to have worked on the film to get one of those hats. Brad Lewis, our producer, had those made.
So that's the Storks Delivery Service
the
logo
sto-
right there,
That's
right?
right. But if you look,
That
you
is
look
so
at it,
cool.
and that's for you, Mr. Glickman.
Thank you so much.
But if you look at it, you'll probably say to yourself, "Well, that looks like a military logo. That doesn't
does.
look like the corner store logo."
Yeah.
And that leads us to your question, which is, what does an editor do? Well, when Storks started, Nick's original script, the Storks were military. That Hunter was Junior's father, and that they were all military. And Pigeon Toady was Hunter's aide de camp. He was not like a corporate weirdo.
Yeah.
And so in our original version,
Until you
of
met
Storks,
Stephen Glickman, and then you're like, well,
corporate
weirdo.
Corporate weirdo immediately. So the crazy thing about it is that Mr. Glickman, I did the original voice for Pigeon Toady.
No
and I was
way.
the aide de camp. And this
Can
is.
we hear your Pigeon Toady voice?
I will give you. And here's the thing. Before I do this, when Stephen came in, he blew us all out of the water, and we were like, "Oh no, this is the dude. This is the dude." But the original Pigeon Toady's voice sounded like this. Well, how do you like that, Junior? Well,
Sorry, thought we were vibing.
and so what happened was that
Baby powder.
Pigeon Toady was going to was really pissy because he wanted to be the next general, and
Okay.
Junior, who didn't want anything to do with being the general, he and Pigeon Toady were kind of non-rivals. Anyway, but the thing is that the more we worked it, the more we realized that the military angle just was leaving people cold. And it wasn't until a little later on that we realized, that probably about a year into the project, we realized, oh, wait, no, it shouldn't be the military. It should be a corporate thing. And then that's when we realized that Junior kind of turning his back on family to kind of be a corporate guy and have his own apartment and be amazing, mirrored the story that was going on with the parents, which was the B story. And so when we switched it to a corporate culture, it allowed us to unify the two stories. And these are the kinds of discoveries.
So is that like constant rewriting as you're going along?
That's
like
exactly right.
And evolving?
Yes, that's exactly right. And so what ended up happening is once we switched it to that, it really opened things up, because then that way, even if we weren't with the Storks, it was a similar storyline, so it felt much more cohesive.
A lot of parallels there. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And and this, I'm about to blow Stephen Glickman's mind with the next information.
Oh man,
here it comes.
Is the next gift a baby?
It is. It is the. It might as well be a baby, because this. So what happened was, when we decided to switch from the military thing, all our designs for Pigeon Toady were done in a military style.
Yeah, like in a uniform.
His little
right?
uniform. So what happened was when we were trying to decide, Doug Sweetland and the rest of the team, we were all sitting in the editing room trying to discuss, like, what would Pigeon Toady look like? And so I have notepads in the back of my room so people can grab notes and things. And so Doug Sweetland grabbed a notepad and drew this, which is the very first drawing ever of Pigeon Toady.
no
Which is
way.
my gift to
That's
you.
Are you
amazing.
serious?
That is the very, very, very first drawing of Pigeon Toady ever.
That's awesome.
Wow!
And the great thing about that,
I'm so happy. This is so amazing, John. That is insane.
Can I put it back in this folder, because I
let's
don't
put it
trust
back in
him?
the folder. So what happened was Doug Sweetland
Oh
drew
my
that,
God.
and we all said, "Oh yeah, that's pretty much it." And then he did another pad and went through and did a second revised drawing, which is the one we gave to Sylvan, our character designer, who then took that and created the design that's in the movie.
Wow.
I can't believe it.
And what happened was when
You gotta frame that.
When Doug got
yeah,
finished,
100%. It's going. That's exactly where it's
Going
going
on the wall. Yeah.
it should, because and so when I said, "Hey Doug, can I have that?" and he was like, "Yeah, sure," and I held on to it because I knew someday.
You'd be on a
Wow,
podcast.
man.
That's great.
John, that's insane. I'll post video and pictures so you guys can see it. It'll
That's
go
incredible.
along with it. But you know what's crazy, man, is I see a lot of fan art of. I was seeing a lot of fan art of Pigeon Toady after the movie came
So
out,
does Robbie.
and so oh god, let's do not bring that up. So what I started doing is I started hitting up the artists of the fan art and being like, "Hey, if you send that to me, if you send me the original, I'll frame it and hang it up in my place."
Oh, cool.
And I have like a pile of like really killer artwork
So wait,
from
it's
all
in a
these.
pile. You haven't framed it and put it up in your place?
No. I've been
It's
waiting
gonna
to
happen.
do it because
You
I've been
told them you would do
framing.
it and then you
I've been
didn't do it.
slowly framing things in my place. You know, I have all the ones from Mario
Yeah.
Degato,
he's
who
got great
does
ones, yeah.
all of our artwork for our show.
Oh, yeah,
so I have
that
all
stuff
those
is great.
framed. But I was like, this is like the piece, man. Like I can,
That's
I'll,
awesome.
I'll frame all of them and put them all up together because I mean that's
Yeah.
amazing, man. That's a huge deal, man.
Oh, hey,
I can't believe that you saved that all this time.
absolutely, absolutely. And so when you get
you
Doug
just blew my
Sweetland,
mind.
when you get Doug Sweetland to come,
Get him to sign it.
Get him to sign it for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because,
that's insanity.
But this is
And then you can
and it
sign
hasn't changed that much. The design
no,
really
yeah.
hasn't changed.
and that's actually what the thing I really wanted to mention, which is on Storks we had an incredibly talented group of people. I mean, like it was like you had Doug Sweetland, who, by the way, if for listeners that don't know Doug Sweetland, our director, he started out as one of the superstar animators on all the best Pixar films.
movies,
He animated Woody, and in fact, the crazy thing is, if you go back and look at the supplemental stuff, you'll see Doug acting out Woody, and when you watch it, you go, "Oh my gosh, Doug Sweetland is Woody." His mannerisms,
Makes
with the
sense.
hat, it's all. And I mean, you look at the credit list, and it's every one of your favorite animated movies. And so this was Doug's big break to direct, and he is just supremely talented. And you have Nick Stoller, who is a comic genius, and is just the right amount of heartfelt and weird. Which, by the way, is a really hard combo to nail.
That really is a hard combo.
That's awesome.
I love that you said to me one time about the character that once we were like. Once you guys figured out like a trick for the character, which was that every time he's like gloating and being like kind of not a great guy, that you would injure him immediately, so that and then that way parents would laugh and kids would laugh. So the parents were like okay with the character being kind of a jackass because or being rude or like saying awful things because the second that he did it, it was instant karma constantly.
Instant karma. That's exactly right. In fact, that was the fine line, because if we did too much Pigeon Toady, the kids. By the way, kids could have had a nonstop 7-hour Pigeon Toady movie, and they would have loved it. It would have been. In fact, I would have loved it.
Yeah,
but
the parents
parents would have had a little trouble with it. I think
the parents not so much. So what happened was we realized, as you say, it's like when we meet Pigeon Toady and he's backing up and he's being kind of a jerk, he backs right into a bench, and that was a really late addition. We added that right before our last final screening. And
because the line originally was, "Hey guys, you hear about Roger? He flew into a window and died." And then someone would
just
go,
kidding.
And then I'd go, "Just kidding." And then they would go, "That's really mean, Pigeon Toady." And then he would go, "Yeah, I know. We're raising money for Roger's family. He's a really great guy. Got to do something good for him. Be supportive. Throw a couple bucks in or whatever."
Shake a little can.
It was like so ridiculous. But I remember thinking, knowing that was the line, and then seeing him hit himself and being like, I wonder why they did that. And then I was like, oh, it's because it gets a huge laugh from the kids every time it happens.
Every single time.
So when you're making that movie then,
you've
recorded this audio at that point, and you've sort of decided, here's what we're going with, that this is sort of the final version of the audio. Then they start the animation process?
That's right. So
and then then you just sort of fine-tune it, where you're like, let me chop off a couple frames here and make it so it's a little tighter? Or
So imagine the last year of an animated movie is like when you shoot the actual movie for a live-action movie. And so what happens is you can change things in the last year, but dollar values are double. It gets really expensive to change things. So when you're in storyboard mode, which is the first part of the process, is called storyboard, you have terrible people like me doing voices. Hey, I'm Pigeon Toady. So I would record all these terrible versions of
And that's
Pigeon
before
Toady.
you bring in people like Stephen for scratch vocals.
That's why we call them the talent. They say, like scratch vocals, the talent.
Well, because you were doing scratch
but I
on
did
the movie.
Scratch on the movie for like 2 years almost.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, that's one of the wonderful things about our movie. You and Katie Crown were the huge, wonderful discoveries. I mean, you guys were the animation equivalent of getting discovered at the local corner drugstore.
I mean, it's insane. Like they told us both like early on.
Yeah, you were like, you're going to be replaced by a celebrity.
And that was like the one. I know that we're jumping around here, but like that was the one thing about this process that was different than when I did Shrek in the Shrek musical in New York. I thought that I was mentally preparing myself to be on Broadway the entire time. So I kept thinking like I was a year ahead in my brain. And then when it didn't work out and it ended up, I did like almost 2 years on that show, and then they fired me about
on New Year's Eve.
On New Year's Eve.
Oh my God!
They fired me on New Year's Eve
because your contract would have gone over on New Year's Day.
Yeah,
he would have been like guaranteed.
Yeah, I would have been gone guaranteed.
Who called you to fire you?
The Jason Moore, the director, who directed Pitch Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when he called me to fire me, I mean, I was a wreck. I was a wreck.
But it's one of the best things that are happening to you.
It is. It 100% is, because they had to buy out my contract, which was an exorbitant amount of money, and then they had to give me 20 years of royalties on the show. So anytime the show plays anywhere, I would make money off of it, and then I was able to use that money to kind of get myself, situated in LA so I could audition for stuff. And then I got Big Time Rush like 6 weeks later. I was like something crazy like that. I got Big Time Rush.
Well, I think you're doing Carpoolers first, then Big.
No, like Big Time Rush was airing the same time that Storks that Shrek opened on Broadway.
Okay.
Because I was already famous when Shrek was on Broadway. Because then they
already famous. Really?
Oh, not famous. But you know what I'm saying. I was
Big
already
Time Rush
I'm
is
sorry.
on a big
sorry.
show.
Hold the crowd back here. They're rushing.
Oh
the
my
stage.
God, they're rushing into Genghis Cohen to stab me to death. But I was already I had a career at that point.
Yeah.
And then went you're the worst. And then I went. They let me come to a thing to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was signing autographs in the lobby of Shrek the musical, and
As
Jeffrey
Gustavo.
Katzenberg was there and was like,
because I think his kids
looks
watch
like
the
it
show.
turned out fine. Yeah,
totally.
It was very weird. But long story short, for me though, it was like I was thinking so far ahead in the future that I wasn't really enjoying the moment of things and not appreciating everything. And then so when I got Storks, I was like, okay, every single day that I am lucky enough to be on the Warner Brothers lot, just to be on the lot, I was like, that's fine. And then it was like, every day that I got to record was like a big deal and felt like a big. And if I got to sit and have lunch, or if they let me sit with you guys for a break, I was like, I can't believe I'm getting to sit with Nick Stoller and with John and with all Doug Sweetland, and I appreciated every single day, so that way there wasn't a moment where I was I never was disappointed. There's never a point in the 3 years where I was disappointed by anything.
Because you were prepared from the start. You're like, okay, they're going to replace me.
Yeah,
at
I
some
just
point.
they're going to replace me.
So there was going to be no disappointment when that happened, and
Right.
then when it doesn't happen, because I remember even until the day they announced that big Entertainment Weekly thing where they're like, Stephen Kramer Glickman is Pigeon Toady. Until that day, you were still getting prepared to be fired at any moment because you're like, oh, they're going to find some celebrity last minute and replace me, just like they did with Jennifer Aniston at the last minute.
They brought in someone, and Jennifer took over for one of Andy's friends, I believe.
God damn it. I'm completely spacing. I should not have drank all this celebratory champagne. I'd be able to remember things. Well, here's the interesting thing that happened from our side as we were making the film. Pretty early on, I was hanging out with Justin Shelton and Doug and Nick Stoller and Matt Flynn, and we were saying to ourselves, there's no way we're going to find someone who's going to be as heartfelt as Katie and as weird as Glickman. And so what happened was the studio came out, and I will not name names, but they named two very excellent comic actors who, we really have been lucky to have gotten on the show, but we realized that
Louis Anderson.
I can't say any names.
Yeah. It's okay.
Ralphie May.
Think famous. Think Mr. Robot. No, I'm just making stuff up now. No, but the thing is we all realized, even though they're really talented people, we would get a less funny version of our movie. And that's when Nick said, I have to go to the mat for Glickman and I have to go to the mat for Katie. And by God, he did.
Wow.
We were in a huge...
And it's not like there's a lack of stars in that movie. You've got Jennifer Aniston, Ty Burrell, two of the biggest stars today, sort of anchoring the celebrity list on there. Danny Trejo, who you wouldn't think of being in a comedy, but he was great.
But I mean, even Key and Peele, they took over for Brian Posehn.
Oh, you know what's funny? Brian
Posehn was in there.
Well, actually, Brian did a role that we completely cut from
he was
the movie.
the Vultures.
He was the Vultures, and we took the Vultures. The gag was that Brian was going to do the voice of all the Vultures, and we ended up dropping. It was Pigeon Toady on Garbage Island.
I remember with a diaper on his head.
I think that scene's on the.
It's in the deleted scenes.
Also, that's my nickname for Glickman's apartment, Garbage Island.
Oh, you know what? And the other one that I really liked was before Danny Trejo got cast to play the
Junior.
stork. Not
Junior, the one who was following the baby around. I forget his name.
Jasper.
Jasper.
Yeah,
before he was cast, it was Eric Edelstein.
Eric, by the way, supremely talented, and
oh my God, amazing.
I feel so. This is one of those things that's really heartbreaking because you work with someone for literally years, and they do an amazing performance, and it can come down to something as simple as we need someone to go on a talk show, or it's really heartbreaking. And the tricky thing about
go ahead. Was anybody playing Andy's character before Andy came on?
Yeah, Chris Smith did the scratch. Chris Smith, by the way, who is hilarious and is has done a lot of great stuff and worked with Nick. And in fact, was in Friends from College, Nick's new Netflix series. By the way, he was so good, and I think really helped inform the character a lot. But this is one of those things where it can have nothing to do with your performance. And I've been kicked off of shows that I've been the editor on, and when it happened, my mentor Michael Tronick said there are two kinds of people in the entertainment business: those who have been removed from shows and those who are going to be removed from shows.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is he said, don't ever take it personally. It's not like you're working for IBM and you've been there for 3 decades and they're kicking you to the curb. It can be something as simple as we want a different vibe or a marketing thing, or
we owe a favor to someone.
That's completely it. That's completely it. And so I think that everyone who did temp voices on Storks, they were all amazing, and it was, it's just a weird business. But
what are you gonna do?
Okay, can I finally jump back to South Park because I have another question?
Before we go back, I have one more thing to say,
Please.
which is Glickman noticed that he recorded by himself.
Yes.
Which, by the way, we did with everyone else together. That was by design, Mr. Glickman. And here is why. The very first time we recorded you, Nick did. It was an audition, it was your first session was kind of like an audition, and so Nick didn't really tell you much about the character. And so what happened was, you, like anyone trying to come into a completely cold room, you were like, I'll try this. And so what happened was you were like, I'm going to try and please this guy by giving him a bunch of different options. And so you landed on the surfer guy, but in your voice, you could hear, you were like, I don't know if this is the right voice. And so you were kind of like, do you like this? Am I making you happy? Am I making you all happy? And so when we were listening back to it, we realized, holy shit, this is the character. Pigeon Toady is constantly trying to get approval from every single person in the room. So by design, we didn't tell you anything. So you would come in for a session. You'd be like, "Do you like? Is this all right?" And we were like, "Yeah, keep going."
And that's your personality.
Oh my God.
Naturally.
Yeah, naturally.
You're like that.
I'm like, constantly want everyone to like me. Yeah, it was that was so funny. I mean, there are a couple moments where I knew that things were going my way. One of them was when I did a scene and Nick Stoller fell off of the couch, physically fell off of an actual couch onto the floor laughing. That was one of the times where I was like, I think this is going well. I'm pretty sure this is going well.
Yes.
And the other time was when we were going to do the song, and I'd done all the dialogue up to the song, and he goes, okay, well, we can stop because we have a singer coming in for the song. And I went, you should let me sing the song. And he was like, I don't, we already have somebody. And I was like, let me just give it a shot. What song is it? And then they told me, and I was like, I love that song. You have to let me try it. And then I sang it legit, like the way that he sings it in the movie. And Nick was like, how did I not know that you could do this? Like, it was so
great.
They
didn't check your resume to see, he's been on Broadway. He can actually sing.
Broadway.
That was the moment that, in my mind, when I look back at the whole thing, that's the moment where I was like, I think I'm kind of locking this in a little bit.
Is that the moment when you looked at him and said, how you like me now?
That's it.
How you like me now? And then he kept saying, be more unintelligible. Just keep saying. So then it became like, how you like me now? And it was just so stupid. But my favorite thing in the whole world, and people that are listening to this, please feel free to send me this on Twitter, Instagram. People send it to me constantly. Is videos of their kids in their house doing the choreography and the whole move and the whole bit.
Doing the worm?
And, doing the worm, laying on the floor and going, like into the floor. And it is so funny. I've watched so many families reenact that scene. And I get asked a lot, which I know is something actors say about stuff, but I've talked to Doug about it, and Doug was like, it's doubtful at this point, but I've been asked so many times if there could ever be a world in which they would spin off Pigeon Toady to do something else, whether it was like a Netflix show or like a weird something weird. And how weird is this? I pitched to Warner Brothers when the movie was like getting ready to come out on DVD. I pitched to Warner Brothers and said, "Hey, I have an idea. Why don't we do Pigeon Toady teaches you your ABCs, or Pigeon Toady teaches you your numbers, or Pigeon Toady's Christmas carols, and he sings Christmas carols, and you can just reuse footage from the movie for it." And they were like, maybe. This is the home video department. They were like, maybe. And then I got a phone call from my agent. She was like, "Hey, guess what? You booked another Pigeon Toady job. They're going to do this thing." And they like wrote it and they put it all together. And I came in and recorded new audio for it.
Directed by Matt Flynn.
By Matt Flynn. Yeah.
Co-head of story, genius guy.
And then they did the Pigeon Toady's Guide to Raising Babies, which was so funny and weird. But yeah, the point is, I love that character.
People want more. I want more Pigeon Toady. I mean, I spent 3.5 years of my life listening to Pigeon Toady, and I want more. I want more Pigeon Toady.
Can't get enough.
God bless.
Yeah.
All
okay,
right, Matt,
so now,
go ahead.
Go
ahead.
So question I have, because this is something. They had a show that was successful. It wasn't. I don't think it was quite as big as it is now, but it was a successful show on Comedy Central at that point. Why did they bring in an outside editor like yourself when they've been working with editors on their TV show? Why don't they use the same people?
Yes, and by the way, that is a very good question. Just to get the movie done, because we did that movie in such a short amount of time. A lot of the editors came and helped out and cut on the film as well. So the TV guys ultimately ended up coming on to help out and cut on the show. But the reason why is because they were doing the show simultaneously
at the same time
while they were doing
so
the
they
movie.
Couldn't use the...
And so we were over in a warehouse over Marina Del Rey, and it was crazy. Trey, I don't know how that guy... He was in his 20s. That's how he did it. Because he would work on the show all day, and then he would come over and work with me until like really midnight or 1 in the morning. He would go home and catch some sleep and then go back to the TV show.
Because on their TV show, like they're making that show like 2 weeks before we see it on TV.
That's right.
Like it's like crazy turnaround on that.
Yeah, and the movie, by the way, was made exactly the same way. And I think it comes across in was it 7 Days to Air? Is that the documentary? It comes across there, but the idea is that the closer to deadline, the funnier they get.
Yeah,
and I think
because their stuff is like just ripped out of the headlines. More than Law and Order, even. It's like
it's true because it's amazing. By design, the animation is shitty, so they can get away with really
just cranking it through.
I mean, we made a joke about that in the movie. You see,
the
Cartman's
and the animation's all crappy.
I mean, actually, crappy.
Because I remember the original South Park. Because I went to the Spike and Mike Sick and Twisted Animation Festival back in the day. I used to go watch that.
Me too.
And I remember seeing it in the theater. I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny, but like it didn't stick with me. And then like I'm like, oh, that's a TV show now. Okay, I'll watch that. And then you're like, oh, this is a really good TV show. Like I had no idea it was going to be what it is.
Oh God, and those poor guys. When they started the TV show, the pilot episode, they had done The Spirit of Christmas in a small animation facility in Denver.
And then they do Cartman Gets an Anal Probe. That's pilot.
That's right. And so Eric Stow, who's the head of animation there, and he's one of the really effectively one of the co-creators. They did the first pilot episode using actual cutout construction paper.
Yeah.
And what happened was that about a third, I guess halfway through the project, they were saying we need to be able to turn this around faster. And so their CG animator said, "Oh yeah, we can do this. We can do this with whatever Maya was before Maya."
Yeah.
They said, "Hey, we can do it with this," and they were really skeptical because I think Trey and Matt really liked the texture of the paper. And they said, "No, you get that tube, we'll scan it." And so they did a test, and as soon as they saw the test, they were, "Oh yeah, fuck construction."
Because it's like. Wow. It must. I mean, it's like stop motion animation at that point. That's like Wallace and Gromit, like move it by 1 millimeter, and now you take another photo, and it's got to take forever.
Well, here, just to give you an idea about what kind of insane turnaround you can get with, because their entire animation staff is there in the building with you. So it was the editing room, and then all the animators, and so in the heat of battle, there was a scene Trey came in with Matt like around 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and they said, we have an idea for a new scene. It goes right before the big rally scene. And so he wrote it, gave it to the storyboard artist. They boarded it. I got the boards around 11 o'clock, which is very late because we were doing insane turnarounds. I got the footage. I cut it, got done with it around 1 o'clock. We sent it to the floor. Trey and Matt had gone and recorded the audio. I cut it all together. We gave it to the floor. I went home, got some sleep, and I came back in the next morning, dropped all the finished animation in. Trey came in around 1 o'clock, watched it, and went, nah, this shouldn't be in the movie, and we dropped it. So, like,
it was that fast.
In 24 hours, we created a brand new scene from scratch.
Did it all, and then just said, screw it.
Screw it.
Wow.
And to this day, I wish we had kept all the stuff that we deleted. It's probably good we didn't, because
Is it in a vault somewhere, or is it just deleted?
No, I think it's because we were moving.
Somebody's like, we need the hard drive space. Delete.
It did, because this was back when hard drive space actually cost money.
Yeah.
But you know what? The other part of it is, in a way, maybe it's good we don't have it, because then it's like, hey, do you want to see less funny versions of the South Park movie?
Right, yeah.
Do you want to see a version that's not as good? Yeah. Now,
No.
were you there for the recording on that one as well?
Yeah, you know what? The way we did it on that show, because we were moving so fast, Trey and Matt had a recording studio at the TV show. And so I would go to a few of the recording sessions, but not like it was on
Okay,
Storks.
so question for you. Did you get to witness recording done by America's greatest living actor, Brent Spiner?
Oh, no. I'm so sad. I missed him. I missed Conan. I missed Stuart Copeland, the drummer for The Police, has a voice in the film. And
Clooney?
Clooney wasn't
the doctor.
Was he the doctor?
Oh,
Jesus.
my God.
How do you know? Come on, you worked on this movie. You should know this.
Let me just tell you something. We were going so fast on that show.
Yeah.
The best part about that show is because it was so disposable from the outside. I think Paramount was like, look,
they
we
didn't
don't
really care.
really give a shit.
Because it was a pretty low budget movie.
$35 million to
Okay,
make,
so
which
that's a
you would think
decent
it's an
budget then,
enormous amount of money. For animation, that's
No,
it's
nothing.
Yeah.
I
So
know.
now-
We just got to spend some time with Mel Brooks, and when he found out how much money Storks cost, he almost fell out of his chair. He couldn't believe it, because Hotel Transylvania is what he does mostly, and those budgets are like what, 150 million, 125 million,
125 probably around
125 million. Yeah, and then you guys spent
Storks is like a third of that.
70 million,
70, 80, yeah. So which is really low.
That's way low for
We
animation.
had a really small crew, but if you get a crew that's really
70 million, 65 million went to Stephen Glickman. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Trivia.
Yes,
unbelievable.
I made millions.
The audience doesn't know Glickman is actually wearing solid gold shoes.
Yeah,
Yes.
these are
Made
hurt.
out of gold.
They hurt a lot, but they're worth
Very
it.
heavy.
Yes,
Can't run in those.
Excellent.
I really can't.
Not like you would run anyways. But.
Well, you know,
It's
Not-
excellent
now I have a
arch
reason.
support. You have really great arch support, though.
Now, John, I read on your IMDb that you worked on another project called Star Trek Continues.
Oh, yeah. I've worked on
What?
every single episode of Star Trek Continues
Yeah.
with Vic.
Yes. So what was that like?
God.
Oh, my
Well,
God.
what is? I mean, are they still making more? Because there have been
know
a
what?
lot of things in the Star Trek fan film world where sort
Yeah.
of CBS has come back and tried to clamp down on things. And what are your thoughts on all that?
I'm so glad you brought this up. I never get to talk about this. Well, I got introduced to Vic when he was doing the very first episode. And for people who don't know, Star Trek Continues is a project that was funded on Kickstarter. It's done by Vic, who plays Kirk. And he doesn't play Shatner. He plays Kirk. He
yes.
becomes Kirk in a wonderful way.
His own way, yeah.
You can check it out at StarTrekContinues.com, and it's on Vimeo. But the thing
and these
is,
are like stories that involve the original cast that
Yes.
are not remakes. It's just other stories involving that crew.
yes.
Unlike the terrible J.J. Abrams movies where they ruin Star Trek.
This is not a reboot. His intent from the beginning,
Yeah.
Vic's intent from the beginning, was to do the final season that never existed in the original show. So it links the original series to the movie.
Yeah.
And so
To the V'ger movie.
that's right,
Yeah.
to our the Star Trek the motion picture, which
Yeah.
is
Not very
universally beloved by
By 12 people.
7 or 8 people.
Yeah.
But the thing about
I
it
did
is-
just see Wrath of Khan in the theater because it was
Ooh.
just back out, and it was amazing.
Oh.
It's fantastic.
Wait a second. Are we talking about Star Trek Continues?
Yes, that's right.
Fan films.
And here's the deal. He raised
Hang on a
so much
second.
money.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Star Trek Continues was directed by Julian Higgins.
Mm-hmm.
You know Julian
I
Higgins?
don't know Julian Higgins.
This is a picture of Julian Higgins.
Okay.
Julian Higgins is my director who directs all the Loot Crate videos.
Really?
Well, there you go.
I'm
awesome.
going to see him in 1 hour
Why aren't
from
you
now.
asking
Oh my
about
God!
this?
Ask him about it.
I didn't realize that you guys work together.
Well, the
he's
crazy thing is-
a fucking great director, by the way. He directs I'd say most of the videos that we do, and he's a very, very funny guy.
Oh, your Loot Crate videos are hilarious.
Well, we got, between Jamie Parslow and Pierce and Julian, and we got Austin. We've got like a serious team of people that work
now,
really hard on
I
that.
assume you're a big
Yes.
Star Trek fan then. if you worked on
I
that.
love that
enormous
show.
Trek fan.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that I work in a really unusual way on that show. I'm not involved with the set, and I don't work with the directors. I work with Vic. And Vic, by the way, I did some editing on the first episode, but almost without exception, Vic has edited it himself. And so what he does is he'll take his cut, and then we'll sit down and spend hours kind of going through it. And I'll say, oh, we should
Fine tuning and
you should take this scene, move it earlier, or try and shorten this up. But the thing that I find remarkable about the show is that Vic not only understands the tone of the show so well, but he has actually a really good relationship with Paramount, because when shit went down with the other
it was the Akinar,
It-
whatever it was. I
we
forget.
just refer to it as the series that shall not be named.
Yeah.
But the thing is that unlike that show, who, by the way, they never produced a finished episode.
No, yeah, it was. They raised a lot of money, and then they just sort of never came out with
They
anything.
spent a lot of money on
Axinar, that's what it's called.
themselves.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Really, in a really crummy way. But Vic, by the way, they're set up as a not-for-profit. So they said to Paramount, look, here's the deal. We're not making money on this. This is purely for fans. And Paramount, because they were really upfront about it, and they said, look, there are new rules. They're coming down.
Yeah.
Vic said, look, we just want to finish out the series. It's an 11-episode arc. It's all available for free.
We just want to finish it in a universe where Vulcan still exists.
That's right. That's right. And in fact, what will end up happening is that we just a couple of weeks back finished the final episode.
Oh,
And
great.
So Vic is right now working with the sound designers, working, and he has access to the original scores, and it's shot
because
1 through 3.
we did an episode with Walter Koenig at his house, which was amazing.
It was.
And we went there,
it was
and he's
amazing.
worked on the one with Tim Russ, where now their last episode they did of that one, they had to remove all the Star Trek stuff from it, and it's just like he's Commander whatever, and he's not Chekhov anymore. It's still the same characters, but he's not Chekhov anymore. He had another name in the final episode of the one that they did, because they ran into those problems with Paramount where they're like, no, you can't use original people who worked in the original series, and they're like they have all these
that's
rules for stuff
interesting.
now.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell
But
you.
you've avoided that because you
yep.
sort of have a nice relationship
That's
with them.
right, because Vic has always been really upfront about it. And the nice thing is that he goes to the folks at Paramount and said, hey, we're going to debut this at Phoenix Comic Con or Denver Comic Con.
Sure.
And there have been times where Paramount and CBS, they said, hey, look, here's the deal. We're going to be doing a panel discussion. Can you please delay it because we don't want to conflict, and which has been really great. But the thing is that it's so weird. None of us made a dime on it. I would just do it because we're huge Trek fans.
Wow.
So are you really excited about Sunday, the debut of Star Trek Discovery?
You know what?
I've signed up for CBS All Access. They're going to take my $6 a month or whatever it is.
I'm doing that.
And I'm like, okay, just take my money. I will watch whatever Star Trek you will give me.
That's a really good point. I'm glad you bring it up. So anyway, the answer is yes, and more, please.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. John, I'd like to ask a favor.
Of course.
Do you have projects that are coming up that you're working on that are about to come out? Or?
I do. Oh, yes, I do.
Well, you
oh my
have
God.
Lego-
Yep,
you have
the
Lego
Ninjago movie,
movie
which
is
I've
about to
been
come out.
working
With
on
Jackie Chan?
with Jackie Chan, with Dave. Come on, brain. Abby from Broad City. Kumail and Zach Woods from. Wonderful.
Kumail Nanjiani's in it. A bunch of amazing people are in that movie.
It's really fun. It comes out on the 22nd, and please, everyone, go see it. It is a kung fu Lego movie.
Well, here's something I would like to ask. I would love to have you come back if it's possible, because
Of course.
we gotta wrap up. But
Can I ask one last question?
yes,
Okay. In your career, you've
Yes.
edited a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You've probably have a thing that you can look to and say, the thing that I cut from a movie that I really wish I would have let in. What's the biggest thing that you look back and you're like, I wish we would have left this in?
I'm going to tell you right now, this is there, and it's from the movie Storks. You would think this is pandering. At the end of the movie Storks, which, by the way, has a wonderful ending, and
it's the Pigeon Toady death scene.
It was actually, what ends up happening is we go back and we do, it was a commercial. It was a TV commercial for get a baby from Storks. We'll deliver your baby. And what ends up happening is Pigeon Toady keeps blowing the commercial because he keeps coming in, being really enthusiastic. And so what ends up happening is...
Oh, my God. I know what you're doing.
Did you record this?
He recorded this. He actually, Pigeon Toady does his comeuppance song, and it is hilarious.
Yeah, the scene is that they finish the movie basically, and they go, "Yeah, if you want to get a baby, get it now,"
it's like
or
a
whatever.
Closing credit kind of thing.
Big thumbs up to the camera, and then they freeze frame. They stop, and Pigeon Toady walks in with an actual goose that like a goose that is his girlfriend.
It's his real girlfriend.
But they were planning on getting an
actual
goose to walk in. So it wouldn't be CG, it'd be a real live action goose.
Hard to train.
Which they had problems with the Canadian. There was like a problem with the Canadian government over the
it was
over
money.
The rights.
You couldn't solve that? You're Canadian.
I know, right?
Can't you make a call?
I tried.
Wish we had thought. But it was amazing because it was I have a real girlfriend, and Pigeon Toady basically sings the song.
And he comes out and he goes, "In your face!" And he starts singing this song. He goes, "You thought she was a real, but she is real. In your face!" you thought she wasn't. She thought she was fake, but she is real. In your face!
Okay.
In your face!
So does
in your face! In your face!
And
like
then,
the whole way.
Does that exist somewhere as like a storyboard with the audio?
It exists. You know what? I don't know where it is. God, I wish I had a
somewhere.
copy of it.
I watched it. You guys showed it to me.
Can you find a way to leak that on the internet? Like,
God, it's
call
so
up
funny.
Steven, let me know.
But
I'll find some
let
guy
me
to
just
leak
tell
it on
you
the internet.
The best part, and this, by the way, is maybe why I'm the saddest about getting it dropped. It starts out as like a punk song, in your face, and then out of nowhere, Stephen goes into like a smoothed out '90s R&B soul jam of "In Your Face," it is so sexy. And then
she was the most beautiful girl. I lost her so much. She's a beautiful.
So
woman.
why did it get cut?
It got cut for about 12 reasons, $12,000 reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Really,
it was like a financial thing.
It was a financial thing. It was like, we have such a wonderful, heartfelt ending.
Yeah,
do we want to step our own dicks here?
Yeah.
People were like, I remember that, after one of the screenings, someone was like, "Why would you do that?"
Okay. So was that fully animated, or was it just storyboarded?
No, it was just storyboarded.
It was like animatics. It was like an animatic of it. But oh my God, it's so funny.
That's
I
the
almost
one
forgotten
thing
all
I'm
about
sad
that.
because I would have loved to have at the very end of the crawl done it. If I had been
like on a Marvel
wealthy.
movie, they have the thing after all the credits.
After
it's
the
like
credits.
a different
So
thing.
good.
Yeah.
And we even tried to pitch it as an extra on bonus DVD, but they were like, no,
Wow.
go away.
Wow.
But that's the one.
When they come out with the editor's cut version of
when they
Storks.
come up with the editor's cut, you'll know it because that's how our movie will end.
I love it. John, it's so amazing having you in. We would love to have you come back if you're down for it.
Anytime.
We'll do a Batman episode, and we'll bring you back in, and we can talk about the Batman Lego movie, which you also worked on.
Yes,
and
I worked
we
on
didn't even
that.
get to touch on it.
And I'm the voice of the Penguin.
What?
I'm the voice of the Penguin. in that film.
Okay. We're having you back, and we'll have someone from the cast for that one.
Oh,
and
that'd be
we'll
great.
do a whole thing. Okay.
Awesome.
Where can
Great.
people find you if they want to find you on the interweb?
You can find me, Anim Editor, on the fabulous Twitter. Actually, I'm also that on the fabulous Instagram.
Oh, great. Anim Editor.
Anim Editor, ANIMEDITOR. It looks like Anime Dator, but it's Anim Editor.
Anim Editor. Awesome. Well, we'll get this thing up, and we'll talk real soon.
Excellent.
Thank you again so much for the wonderful gifts. These are
my pleasure.
amazing. And getting a chance to work with you was like the freaking coolest thing ever
Agreed.
to me. So hopefully we'll get to do something
Mr.
again
Glickman, we will
someday.
work together again because you are supremely talented.
So are you, sir.
Gosh, thanks.
And Matt, you're all right.
Matt's good too.
All right. You can always get me at Stephen Glickman, STPHEN, Glickman on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the Nighttime Show podcast. Make sure to follow Matt at FunnyMatt on Twitter and Instagram.
Or
as
if you
well.
want to tell me how great you think the
J.J.
Transformers
Abrams is?
movies movies are and J.J. Abrams did with Star Trek, you can tell me that at mattwalkersucks.com.
Yes, absolutely. Don't forget to share and leave comments and repost. Thanks again for listening to the Nighttime Show podcast. Love you guys. Bye.